Hello again everyone. In this video tutorial I am going to show you a super easy way to find factors and then solve these given cubic equations. And the very first thing before we get started is to see whether these cubic equations are in standard form. And by the way, the cubic standard form looks like this one, as you can see over here. If I compare this one with our given cubic equations, then we can see that obviously x power 2 is missing in this very first cubic equation. So this cubic equation could be written as 0 times that missing term and everything is same. Now let's get started with the very first example. It is right up here, this cubic equation. I want you to focus on the very last number, that is positive 6. So now we're going to see what are the possible divisors for positive 6. Obviously that's going to be positive and negative 1, positive negative 2, positive negative 3, and positive negative 6. So the next step is I want you to look at this cubic equation. Since the highest degree is 3, so we must have at most 3 solutions. So we're going to pick 3 feasible numbers among these ones, the possible divisors, that if you add them, that's gonna give you this number 0, and if you multiply them, that's gonna give you this positive 6. So now ask yourself, what are those gonna be those numbers among these ones? So that's not really hard. You pick negative 1, negative 2, and 3. Okay, go ahead and multiply them out, isn't it? That's gonna give you positive 6. Okay, good. And how about if you add them, that's gonna give you for sure 0. So thus our factor is gonna be simply, you just put in a parentheses x and then -1, you just put down -1, whatever that number is, and then x minus 2, and then x, and this is a positive 3. So this is your factors. And finally our solution set is gonna be whatever you got these factors, you just change the signs. So this -1 become positive 1, this -2 become positive 2, and this positive 3 become -3, and that is our answer. And now we're gonna look at the next example, and over here I want you to focus on this very last number, which is positive 13. So what are the possible divisors for this one? Obviously they're going to be a positive negative 1 and positive negative 13. And now the next step is we are going to pick any 3 feasible number among these divisors. If we add them, it's supposed to come out to be positive 11, and if we multiply them, this should be positive 13. So those numbers gonna be pretty simple, isn't it? -1, -1, and 13. Now I want you to go ahead and multiply these things. Obviously it's going to give you positive 13, and if you add them, that is going to give you positive 11. Thus our factors for this given cubic equation turns out to be, you just put down parentheses, and then x over here you have a first one is -1, you put down -1, the next one is -1 again, put down -1 again, and the next one, this is positive 13, so the x plus 13. So these are your factors. And our solution set is going to be whatever you got these factors, you just change the sign numbers. So sign -1 become +1, switch this sign become +1, and this become -13, and that is your answer. And finally, let's look at this last example over here. Over here, what is the last? As you can see, the last number over here in this equation is -2. Now ask yourself, what are the possible divisors for this number? And obviously that's going to be positive -1 and positive -2. And in this step, I want you to pick any three numbers from these possible divisors that's going to work for us. If you multiply them, they should give us -2, and if you add those three numbers, that should add up to -4. So the numbers are going to be, if you try them, -1, -1, and -2. Okay, so those are the one. And now what I want you to do is go ahead and multiply these numbers, and you can see that we're gonna get -2. And if you add them up, that's gonna give you -4. Thus our factor is gonna be simply, you just put down these x minus whatever this number is, -1 times, once again the next one is -1 again, and finally x minus 2, and these are your factors. And our solution set is going to be simply whatever these numbers are, you just switch their signs. So -1 become +1, -1 become +1, -2 becomes +2, and that is our answer. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos.